Hi and welcome back to Hooks Crochet. Today we're going to be doing a baseball baby blanket and we will get started. First we are going to make a slip knot, and you can do that however you prefer to do that. And we will start by chaining 4. And then we will join with a slip stitch to the first stitch that we did, and create a loop. So I will just show you with another hook. We will be crocheting into this space right here. Just zoom in. So not here, but inside this space here. After we join with the slip stitch, we will chain 2, and then we are going to double crochet 9 times into this circle. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, oops, and 9. Okay, so there is a little bit of a gap here, so we'll just pull on this and that should close it up. And so I just want to explain quickly, we're not going to join to the top of the chain 2. And the reason for that is it's going to make kind of a, as if we were to keep doing it that way, it's going to create a bit of a zigzag along the pattern or along the blanket, and we don't want that. So what we want to do is we're actually going to slip stitch into the first double crochet that we made. So again, not the chain 2, but the first double crochet. But before we do that, I just want to count just to make sure we have the right number of stitches. So we will count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 for that chain 2. So I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch into the first double crochet that we made, yarn over, pull through, and we have the beginning of our little baseball blanket. So for round 2, we're going to chain 2 and then double crochet into the same stitch that we just came out of. So that would be right in here. I'm just going to grab my other hook and point. So we're going to double crochet into this hole right there. Yarn over, double crochet. And for round 2, we are going to double crochet 2 double crochets in each stitch for a total of 20. So if you have a hard time keeping track of stitches when you're working in the round, as many people do, especially if you're a beginner, I would strongly encourage you to mark your first stitch with a slip marker, stitch marker rather. So just put that in there, and then you know where you started. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and then the last two, 19, 20. Okay, so we have gotten back to the slip stitch, and again, we're not going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 2. We are actually going to slip stitch into the top of the first double crochet that we made. So we will do, oops, we will slip stitch, and there you can barely see where we started or where we finished when you're looking here. And so for round 3, we're going to chain 2, and again we are going to double crochet into the same stitch, and I will just show you. We'll zoom in. Double crochet into the same stitch that this chain 2 came out of. Double crochet, and then so working around, actually we'll put our stitch marker in for the first stitch. So working in round 3, we're going to do 2 double crochets into the same stitch, one double crochet in the next, 2 double crochet in the next after that, then 1. So it's going to repeat 2, 1, 2, 1 all the way around. So we've done the chain 2 and 1 double crochet, so that's 2 double crochets. So now we do 1 double crochet, and then we will do 2 double crochets in the next, 1, 2 double crochets, and then 1, 2 double crochets, and then 1, 2 double crochets, one double crochet in the next, and then 2 double crochets in the next, 1 double crochet in the next, 2 double crochets in the next, one double crochet in the next, two double crochets in the next, one double crochet in the next, two, one double crochet, and then 2 double crochets in the second last stitch, and then 1 in this space right there. And then we will join with a slip stitch to the top of the first double crochet that we did. And we have now completed row 3, or round 3 rather. And so a little trick, if you can't remember which round you're on, is the repeat. So what we did was 2 double crochets, then 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, then 1. So the sum of that is 3, and that's also the round that we're on. So for round 4, we're going to double crochet 2 into the same stitch, and then we're going to crochet 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches. And so that sum is 4. And so that would be the 4th round. So I hope that made sense to you. You'll notice too on the pattern, I highlighted where the single double crochets go, or for the numbers rather. So I'll just show you here. For round 4, we do 1 double crochet, we do chain 2, double crochet into the same stitch, 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches. And then from the first asterisk to the second asterisk, it's 2 double crochets in the next, and then 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches. And so that sum will be 4. So the 2 double crochets in the next, and then the 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches, that sum is 4. And it's the same for round 5. You do 1 double crochet in the next 3 stitches, 2 double crochets in the next, and that sum is 5. And it just keeps going on. So that's why I highlighted it in the pattern. So for round 4, I'm going to chain up 2. And I'll put my stitch marker in right now. And double crochet into the same stitch. And then a double crochet in the next stitch, double crochet in the next. Two double crochets in the same stitch. And 1 double crochet in the next, 1 double crochet in the next, 2 double crochets in the next, 1 double crochet in the next, and 1 double crochet in the next. So we'll repeat that around, And I will meet you when we get back to our stitch marker. So I'm just finishing up my last section here. We will do 2 double crochets into the same stitch. And 1 double crochet into the next. 1 double crochet into the next. I'm going to remove that stitch marker. Join with a slip stitch. And we have completed round 4. So we're going to chain up 2 for round 5, double crochet into the same stitch. Just going to put my stitch marker back in. And then we are going to do a double crochet into the next 3 stitches. So an easy way, or how I repeat it in my head, is I say 1, 2, same, 3, 4, 5, different. And that's kind of silly, but so we do 1, 2 into the same stitch, and then the 3rd, 4th, and 5th double crochet are go into different stitches. So that's just a little trick, and you can make up anything that you want that would help you. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I just repeat that as I go around. So we'll do it again. 1, 2. 3, 4, 5. And if I'm going too fast, you can always slow the video down. I believe there is a settings button that's just down at the bottom. It looks like a little gear, and you can go up to playback speed, and I believe you would go to 0.75, 0.5, or 0.25. And that will slow down the video. Just mess around with it and see which one works best for you. So I'm just going to continue on. I'll do the next one. So 1, 2, same, 3, 4, 5, different. So I have 1, 2 in the same stitch, and 3, 4, 5 in different stitches. And it's really easy to tell. You might not be able to see it very well, but I'm going to zoom in and show you. So if we just count 1, 2, those are in the same stitch, 3, 4, 5 different stitches, and then see how these little lines right here, those are the bottoms of the double crochets, and they're in the same stitch. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so that's how you keep track of those. So I will do one more set. 1, 2, oops, sorry about that. I'll redo that. This time on camera. So we have 1, 2, 2 in the same stitch, and 3, 4, 5 in different stitches. So keep going around, and I will meet you when we get to the last few stitches, and we'll do those together before we move on to round 6. So we'll do our last set here. 1, 2, in the same stitch, 3, 4, and 5 into the different stitches, and then we'll join with a slip stitch to the beginning of the row. And so now for round 6, we're going to do the same thing. Each round begins with a chain 2 and a double crochet into the same stitch. And then we will do 1 double crochet into the next 4 stitches. So we did 1, 2 at the beginning, 3, 4, 5, and 6 into the following 4 stitches, and then we just start all over again. We'll do 1, 2 in the same stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 in the different stitches. We'll do that one more time. 1, 2 in the same stitches, and 3, 4, 5, 6 into the different stitches. And I forgot to put my stitch marker into the first stitch, so we'll do that right now. And I will meet you when we get back to the end of round 6 and we're ready to start round 7. So we are back. We are just finishing up with round 6. So we will do 2 double crochets into the same stitch and 4 double crochets along the next 4 stitches of the previous round. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we will join with a slip stitch to the previous row. And so you may notice, especially if you're a tight crocheter, that you're gonna start to see some straight edges form, and that's okay. Once we do a slip stitch around at the end, that should eliminate that problem. But you may see some straight edges forming. But don't worry, there's a few things you can do to prevent that. So just relax your hands a bit more when you're crocheting and try not to pull as tight. And so what I mean by that is when we crochet, so I'm going to insert my hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and see how I just pulled down on that when I was finishing pulling through. And then I'm going to yarn over again and pull that down again. So that is not necessarily a bad habit, but it's more just a habit. And so by pulling too tight on your working yarn, which is the yarn that you're pulling from the ball or skein, that can cause these kind of corners just from pulling a little bit too tight. So again, just relax your hands a little bit more and try not to pull as tight when you're doing the 2 stitches into the 1 stitch. And so we'll continue on for round 7. We did our chain 2 and a double crochet, which counts as 2 double crochets. And I'll just put my stitch marker in. And then we are going to do a double crochet into the next 5 stitches. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we will do 2 double crochets in the next. 1, 2, and 1 double crochet in the next 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we will just look at our pattern. So we're at round 7, and I just want to go over again. So we do chain 2 at the beginning of the round, double crochet into the same stitch. That counts as 2 double crochets. Then we do a double crochet in the next 5. So those 5 stitches plus the 2 double crochets at the beginning equals 7, and we are on round 7. So I just wanted to go over that again. So the 2 double crochets into the 1 stitch and the 5 double crochets into the next 5 stitches equals 7 stitches, and we are on round 7. So I know that I probably sound like a bit of a broken record, but I just wanted to show you that little trick for keeping track of your rounds. And also, you can also use a little post-it and put it right next to whatever round you're at. A lot of people do that as well. So I will continue on doing the 2 double crochets and the 5 double crochets in the next 5 stitches, and I will meet you when we get back and are ready for round 8. Just finishing up round 7, 2 double crochets into the same stitch, and 1 double crochet in the next 5 stitches. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we will join with a slip stitch. So you can see now how, again, I'm a very tight crocheter, so my edges are going to have kind of a straight edge. And you can see, kind of makes like a pinwheel with all your 2 double crochets into the 1 stitch. But as the blanket is washed, blocked, if that's what you want to do, it should go away. So we will continue with round 8. So we will chain 2, double crochet into the same stitch. Actually, that was a little bit loose, so I'm going to go ahead and just tighten that up a bit. Double crochet into the same stitch. There we go, much better. And I will put my stitch marker in. And then we will double crochet, let's see, 6 double crochets over the next 6 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we will just repeat that again. 2 double crochets into the same stitch. 1, 2, and then 6 double crochets across the next 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So just repeat that around, and I will see you for the end of round 8 and the beginning of round 9. Okay, so we're just finishing up round 8 with 2 double crochets in the same stitch. And 6 double crochets across the next 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Remove the stitch marker and join with a slip stitch. So the beginning of round 9 starts the same as the other rounds. We are going to chain 2, 1, 2, and double crochet into the same stitch. And then we will double crochet, 1 double crochet into the next 7 stitches. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. so you'll just repeat that around, and the next 11 rounds will increase by 1. Let me just show you here. So each round will increase by 1 stitch for the increase, which you will see when you print off your pattern. So I'm going to leave you to it, and you can go ahead and increase to as big as you want it or as little as you want it, but it is a baby blanket, so you want it to at least fit a baby. So for the final 2 rounds, we are going to chain 2 and double crochet all the way around, join with a slip stitch. So you're going to do that for rows 23 and 24. If you do want your blanket to be bigger, just keep increasing as you've been doing, and it's pretty easy to figure out with the pattern that I have. So basically we're just going to, I'm just going to finish my slip stitch to join, and then we're going to chain up 2, and now we don't want to double crochet into the same stitch as we were doing before. We want to go into the next stitch because we're not increasing anymore. So yarn over, double crochet, and then you're going to just keep going in the next stitch, yarn over, double crochet, and you're going to continue going around, and you're going to do that for 2 rounds. So I'm going to go off camera and do that, and once you've finished the 2 rounds, you'll slip stitch around the entire blanket. So I'll come back and show you how to do that part. So for the next 2 rounds, just double crochet all the way around the whole blanket. So once you've done your 2 rows of just double crochet around, you'll join with a slip stitch, and then you're not going to chain up, you're just going to slip stitch in the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, and you're going to do that all the way around. And this concludes the blanket portion of this 2-part series, I guess you could call it. So I'm going to go ahead and finish with these slip stitches, and then I'm going to weave in my ends, and then in part 2 we will do the surface stitching or surface crochet for the red stitching for the baseball.